Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Thank you for being here today, stopping by, popping in to see what's going on. I don't do this often, but this one's for the guys. 30% of my subscribers are men. I guess I want to say that when I do episodes and I say she and he and him, these obviously are applicable to all genders. And if I say she, no, it's applicable to whomever it is that you are trying to date and get to know better or have a relationship with. So always I am trying to be inclusive. I just use the words that are most applicable with clients I work with, coaching clients and matchmaking clients. So that's what I do for work. If that's news to you, now you know. And today we're going to be talking about confidence. If that's at all intriguing, stick around. That's what's on the agenda. Confidence is not a trait or a fixed characteristic. It is something that we have the ability to grow, to work on, to develop. And I thought that was an important thing to start talking about because some people are like, I have no self-esteem or my self-esteem is super low. And I'm like, well, let's work on that, right? Let's do some stuff to help build that up because there's no good reason to walk around in life feeling like you are not in possession of self-confidence and self-esteem. So know that that is in your control. And I'm going to talk about today, if you are not feeling strong in the area of confidence, some things I would like you to keep in mind. So that's what we're going to do here. And first I wanted to define confidence a little bit in the way that I'm talking about it. And I think of confidence as being self-assured in knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way, be it in life that you know you'll figure it out and you can deal with it, or emotionally. And I think these two things obviously can be developed, and there are tools and therapists that will work on this with you, but you can get a good book and watch a couple TED Talks and also work on this on your own. A lot of it is really just flipping a couple switches along the way to make an adjustment there so that you can feel stronger in these areas. But I also think of it as avoiding avoidance. Does that make sense? If you're a person like, I don't feel I am strong there, that I can be confident, so I'm just not even going to deal with it. I'm going to avoid the whole situation or the whole, situation. If you can avoid that avoidance, you are well on your way to developing some confidence. So those two things I wanted you to keep in mind. Next up, I wanted to remind you that you can fake it until you make it. And I would recommend that because confidence is much more fun than self-doubt. And also to remind you that confidence is like on a spectrum. And if somebody is too confident, then they become arrogant. And or real extreme confidence is a narcissist. So this is a balancing act. And in the same way that you don't want to you have too little confidence, the opposite end of the spectrum is not appealing to people either. So somewhere in the middle, just know that even once you have a little confidence, you're in a good place on the spectrum, which is somewhere in the middle between having none and being a complete narcissist. And I think people have a connection and an understanding and enjoy being around someone who's somewhere between those two extremes. And then I have a tip here. I do think that a lot of times people who feel that they are not confident are thinking that other people are paying close attention and watching and judging the things they do, say, the way they look, how they are in social situations. And I would want to remind you of that saying that I can never remember. And so to paraphrase, it goes something like this. You wouldn't worry so much about what people think of you if you understood how seldom they do. And to explain that, which I'm sure I don't need to, it's basically saying that we're always thinking people are scrutinizing us when in fact they're much more interested in what people think about them and they're thinking about themselves. They're not paying that much attention to analyze whether your palms are sweaty or you're nervous or you're coming off as confident, you're handling a situation. They're worried about what they're going to do in that situation. And so we wouldn't worry about it so much if we realize nobody's paying any attention to us so much in these situations. Well, definitely not as much as you would imagine they are. And that I can guarantee you is 100% true. And so with that in mind, I would say the helpful hint in public situations or in this situation on a date is to remember it's not about you. Stop thinking about you, get out of your own head, get out of your way, and put the focus where it should be on a date on the other person, on getting to know this other person. Because I tell you, I've said it a million times, nobody ever walks away from a date where they got to talk all about themselves and said, wow, that was a super bad, lame time. People love to talk about themselves typically. So if you encourage them and you're a really good listener and you pick up on what should the next question be or what's the follow-up question and ask things you're truly interested in and be truly interested in getting to know this person, that will go so far in taking the pressure off you, because all you have to do is be interested. You don't have to be faking anything or putting on a show or hiding the fact that you're nervous on this date, because you're making it about somebody else, not about yourself. And that's super helpful. I have lots of episodes, by the way, about being a great dater. If you're new here and this is the first episode you're watching, I'll put some in the at the end of the episode, where you can just click on them from around my face and check some of those out. I'll try to find some that would be helpful for somebody who feels that their confidence isn't as strong as they would want it to be, and hopefully that will be helpful too. If you need more than that, I'm serious, there's a ton of them here on how to be a great first date, how to have a great first date, lots of tips, lots of tricks and hacks. So definitely check those out. Next, I wanted to remind you that we become most self-conscious when we feel that we have not lived up to expectations that we have set for ourselves, which we assume are expectations other people have of us. So I would say don't be so hard on yourself, first of all. And remember that we can grow. We can build from this point. This is not a dead end of me feeling like this forever. This is a starting point, a kickoff point to move from here and to develop some habits and some skills that will make you more confident. It's totally doable, just so you know. I think it's important, though, to be honest with yourself and admit to yourself where you feel that you could use some growth in this area, and then go at it. If you feel it's debilitating in some way, then by all means, talk to a therapist. That's what they're there for. They can really be helpful. I'm a dating coach, right? So I'm not a therapist. I don't have all the tools that a professional has. Certainly watching a TED Talk, as I said, or watching therapists talk about this can be helpful, but there's nothing that could ever be the same as working one-on-one with somebody who's addressing your specific things in a way that you would understand. One of the other tips I think that is helpful when you're feeling less than confident is to not be focusing on I should have done this, or in the future this person's going to think that. To stay present and in the moment. It's something we're all supposed to be doing if we would like to be living our best, our happiest lives, to stay in the moment. What's that thing? The past doesn't count, and the future hasn't happened. There's only the present, or that whole thing. Do I suck at this or not? Just remembering phrases, like I know them, I know what the message is, but I don't know the words. I stink at this. Anyway, if you need help being present, being grounded in the moment and not worrying about the past or the future, I would suggest a way to get better in touch with that is to start with meditation. Grounding yourself and being aware of just your senses and your body in the moment. That's really a good jump start into being present in real life with other people around, is to do it in your quiet time. Find some time during your day to do some meditation and block out everything and just try to go inward. Lots of great recordings and or apps that can help you figure out what you're supposed to be thinking about when you're meditating, because you'll never clear your mind. And I think the interesting thing I'll share here too, just because it was something I learned last year, I always thought, man, I'm really bad at meditating. My brain just goes off the minute I stop focusing on my breath or the weight of my body on this chair. I'm off thinking about tomorrow or cleaning the curtains or something. And then I learned that is the exercise. The actual exercise is my mind's over here on the curtains and I pull it back. This part right here, that's the exercise of meditating. It's not to be here centered in the moment and not leave. I'm sure that is a goal if you're like, Superman. But for the rest of us, the exercise, the strength training comes in the pulling your mind back to the present from wherever it goes off to when you let it wander. So I thought that was super interesting. I didn't feel like such a failure once I knew that. And then, an affirmation never hurt anybody. I know I'm a little woo-woo these days, but I promise you this stuff didn't become so popular because it doesn't work. I've watched it work. It works for me. So I would remind you, if you are a person who does affirmations or wants to remind yourself that you are not afraid. You are a work in progress, because growth can be had and progress can be made. And where you are today is not where you will be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But also, those small steps along the way are all progress. So that work in progress thing, keeping that in your mind, I think it's very helpful for me, and I hope you do too. Glad you stopped by today, and I will look forward to seeing you again sometime. If you want to subscribe, you can hit that ring bell then, and that notifies you every time I upload a new episode. I'd look forward to having you back again soon. So do that, and until next time, have a good one. I can never remember how it goes, but I will paraphrase. Oh, there's my phone.